If not exactly how they had hoped, Disney has once again succeeded. The live-action Snow White remake is now more than just a movie. The outpouring of outrage, response, and endless debates is irresistible. The studio that created some of the most beloved stories in film history is now involved in a conflict that might endanger its reputation. The same question is being asked by fans, critics, and even onlookers. What is Disney doing? On one side, you have a movie with a budget in the neighborhood of $300 million, and on the other, a fan following that is becoming more upset every day, accusing Disney of forgetting what initially made its masterpieces so cherished. The actress who portrayed Snow White, Rachel Zegler, is at the heart of it all. Her comments have fueled the fire, transforming a contentious dispute into a major catastrophe. The hardest part comes after the inferno. This is about far more than just one actress or film. Disney's shortcomings are beginning to be revealed by its struggle to blend technological innovation with timeless heritage. Is this a gamble worth taking? Or will Disney lose its magic touch in Snow White 2025? Let's travel back in time to 1937, when Walt Disney himself debuted Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to the world. This was more than simply a film. It was a revolutionary achievement that altered the motion picture industry forever. In addition to being a blockbuster, Snow White was the first full-length animated feature film. It set the benchmark for heartfelt storytelling and narrative originality because of its enduring message, engrossing music, and iconic characters. The Snow White, the movie that created the Disney empire, laid the foundation for films like Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, and every other Disney princess story that has become a timeless classic cherished by generations. But with the arrival of the modern era came constant pressure to adapt and make classic tales more accessible. The road from respect to reinvention is a treacherous one, as we will see. Fans initially embraced these modifications, so when Disney revealed that Snow White would get a live-action makeover, expectations couldn't have been higher. Films like Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast provided just enough contemporary elements to seem fresh, without sacrificing the spirit of the originals. But when you tamper with a tale that's revered, problems can arise. Casting a young actress, Rachel Zegler, who just landed her big break playing one of the most famous characters in movie history, was supposed to be a dream come true. Instead, her comments and interviews turned into a nightmare. Social media was ablaze with claims that Zegler didn't appreciate Snow White's past or recognize its historical value, causing a rapid and furious response. Critics and fans accused her of disregarding the movie that helped build Disney's empire and revolutionize animation. Zegler reportedly deemed the 1937 Snow White antiquated, obsolete, and unsuitable for contemporary audiences. She spoke about eliminating the supposedly archaic storylines and giving the heroine greater autonomy to empower her. To Zegler, this was a necessary evolution, but to many fans of the original, it was an affront. Critics quickly labeled her as out of touch and questioned why Disney would cast someone who seemed to disdain the narrative she was meant to represent. The firestorm showed no signs of slowing down, and Zegler's name soon became synonymous with controversy. However, this was just the beginning. Her comments continued to stoke the flames, igniting another debate about Disney's willingness, or lack thereof, to adapt its most cherished stories. For many, Snow White was more than just a film. It was a part of their childhood and a cornerstone of Disney's enchanted heritage. That's why fans weren't just upset, they were outraged. Many now believed that the legacy was in danger. The outrage swiftly spread across YouTube channels and social media fan communities, not just one corner of the internet. Terms like boycott and betrayal dominated conversations as fans expressed outrage about Disney's alleged abandonment of its traditions, prioritizing modern objectives over loyalty to the original story. Leaks and marketing materials suggested that major changes to the original plot were being scrapped or reimagined. While some saw these changes as positive developments, others regarded them as betrayals. The fairy tale romance was eliminated, the narrative was altered to highlight a more independent Snow White, and the Seven Dwarfs were replaced with a diverse ensemble of magical companions. The mindset surrounding these upgrades was just as significant as the changes themselves. The message seemed clear. The original's magic was no longer relevant. The stakes increased along with the growing dissatisfaction. Every new Rachel Zegler interview or piece of released information fueled the outrage. Viral blogs criticized her remarks as contemptuous and even insulting to the original movie, despite Disney's best efforts to contain the mayhem. In addition to voicing criticism, fans began calling for action. But would this clamor stop at words, or was Disney facing financial ruin? If fans weren't already in a frenzy over Rachel Zegler's comments, the foundation of the controversy was already beginning to fracture, and the pressure was about to blow. According to leaks, Disney had completely revamped Snow White, substituting a number of magical companions for the seven dwarfs, substituting characters for the title Rockenheimer to better simulate the fairy tale world, and substituting fans for the Disney parks for the seven dwarf. In order to showcase a fiercely independent Snow White and resist Disney's use of fairy tale cliches, the classic story of a princess's resilience was reimagined. Though many saw these changes as an unnecessary rewriting of a story that didn't need fixing, they were intended to avoid stereotypes and reflect modern ideals. Critics argued that Snow White's enduring tale of innocence, optimism, and the battle of good versus evil was what made it so enchanting. They claimed that removing those elements was not modernization but treachery. Fans noticed a recurring pattern of radical alterations presented as progress, alienating the core audience. This prompted many to ask, why not create new tales that reflect modern ideals instead of disparaging the classics? Comparisons to earlier controversial remakes such as Ghostbusters 2016 and The Little Mermaid 2023 were inevitable. As tensions surrounding the remake escalated, fans felt as though their cherished memories were being altered. The backlash evolved beyond online discussion into a movement. For Disney, this was a test of its ability to strike a careful balance between nostalgia and innovation. But as fans voiced their frustrations louder than ever, a startling disclosure revealed the remake's enormous expense and inherent risks. Financial reports indicated that the film's budget had ballooned to over $300 million, a sum typically reserved for superhero blockbusters or CGI-heavy epics. For a fairy tale about a princess and a wicked queen, this amount raised eyebrows. The stakes for Disney's Snow White remake were not just emotional. Fans wondered how a simple story could cost so much. Despite the enormous budget, insiders claimed Disney's marketing efforts were worsening the situation. Reports highlighted costly reshoots, extravagant sets, and a marketing campaign that failed to salvage the film's reception. The film's significant changes were showcased in its first teasers. An opening credits, summary of movie's production, Snow White's independence, the absence of the seven dwarfs, and the deviation from the original fairy tale romance only stoked fan anxieties. These teasers sparked waves of downvotes and critical comments on social media platforms like Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube. The marketing campaign drew comparisons to the Ghostbusters 2016 debacle, which alienated fans by emphasizing changes over the story's core essence. Fans accused Disney of being tone-deaf to their audience's concerns, and the Snow White remake seemed to be falling into the same trap. The controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler only compounded the issue. Her interviews, which often went viral, were criticized as dismissive and disrespectful to the beloved original. This was no longer just about one movie. A failure here would have repercussions across Disney's entire empire, affecting merchandise, theme park tie-ins, and the studio's broader live-action remake strategy. The strain is immense, the financial clock is ticking, and the stakes are very high. Is it possible for Disney to save this project, or has it already been ruined? Disney is putting its entire heritage at stake, not just with Snow White. Given that toy lines and other products are already in the works, the consequences of this remake's failure will go far beyond the box office. Unsold merchandise may pile up, leaving clothes and books unsold. Retailers rely on Disney films to boost sales, but shops could end up overstocked with items no one wants if customers boycott or lose interest. The possible repercussions of Disney's live-action remake strategy failing are far-reaching. Movies like The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin have made billions of dollars by capitalizing on nostalgia, turning these remakes into lucrative cash cows over the last decade. However, fans are beginning to grow weary of revisiting classics, especially when they feel the core of the original story is being sacrificed for modern agendas. If Snow White flops, Disney may need to drastically rethink its approach. Instead of giving up, will they double down in the hopes of perfecting the formula? Or will they dare to reduce the number of remakes and eventually focus on creating new original stories? The answers to these questions will depend on the film's success or failure. The stakes are particularly high for Rachel Zegler, whose career path is now intertwined with this controversial project. With so much riding on the success of this film, the key question is whether she will emerge as a misunderstood genius or as a cautionary tale about the dangers of alienating a fan base. Hollywood is an unpredictable environment, and history has shown how even the most promising stars can be derailed by public backlash. Could Snow White 2025 serve as a warning? Disney desperately needs Snow White 2025 to succeed. This film is not only a referendum on Disney's storytelling, but also on the studio's entire creative direction. For decades, Disney has been known for enchanting tales that have shaped generations. However, both fans and critics are increasingly questioning whether this magic is fading and whether the company has abandoned the timeless appeal of the classics in favor of meeting modern trends. This debate raises an important question. Should Disney focus on creating new original stories instead of constantly updating beloved ones? The company's reliance on remakes suggests a growing hesitancy to take risks, relying instead on nostalgia, even at the expense of alienating its core audience. But the stakes of Snow White go beyond artistic choices. Films like Moana and Frozen have demonstrated that creativity, when done well, can still captivate audiences and yield massive rewards. If this remake fails, it could damage the reputation of live-action remakes and have severe consequences for both the project and Disney's overall brand. As the premiere of Snow White approaches, there is little doubt that Disney is facing a reckoning. Could the film prove that tradition and innovation can coexist? Or will it serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pushing modernization too far? For Disney, the stakes couldn't be higher. As for Rachel Zegler, whether the film is a success or a failure, one thing is certain: Disney's narrative legacy is on the line. For a company built on optimism, failure could mean a future where even their financial survival is at risk. Some of the revelations from the documentary series included the realities and narrative presented in the film. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.